Hello from Ethiopia. I am in Addis Ababa, the capital city of Ethiopia, to learn more about the work of Compassion International in this country. And check this out. I'm wearing a collared shirt. Can you see that? See it right there? That's collar. That's collar. I haven't done that in about 5 years. And what's more, it's tucked in. It's tucked in. I haven't done that since I was 11, and that was for school pictures, and my mom threatened to beat me if I didn't. That's dedication. I am wearing business casual. I am. That's how much I care about Compassion International. Anyway, seriously, I'm here to learn about what they do. Today, for instance, I got to hang out with Dawit. Dawit is the country director for Compassion International here in Ethiopia. He's in charge of a large staff that is taking care of 60,000 children, 60,000 kids. He is trained as an economist. That is what his degree is in, and he worked as an economist for a few years in the area of microfinance. He worked for an organization that gave out microloans to poor families so they could start businesses and sustain themselves and wean them off of dependence to government or foreign aid. Amazing work. And today he works for Compassion International, like I said, and his brain is so full of information. He goes to these projects and loves on these kids and knows every single statistic about what Compassion International is doing in Ethiopia. And even better, he understands poverty because he's grown up in it and because he's been combating it his whole life. It's what his whole life's about. Now, he was our driver today throughout the capital of Addis Ababa as we toured what Compassion International was doing. And I just couldn't resist the opportunity when you have someone with so much experience and so much knowledge about the subject right there in the car with you. Why wouldn't you ask them some tough questions? So I asked him about a dozen questions, and I'm not gonna share all the answers with you, but there are 2 answers he gave that are pretty astounding, and to me they mean more coming from his lips than if they came from mine. So I'm going to tell you what the question is, and then I'm going to shut up and just let you listen to his answer because it's pretty phenomenal. The first question that I asked Dawit was about how they choose which children to take care of. There are millions of poor children here in Ethiopia. So how on earth did they choose the 60,000 they take care of today? Now their goal is to find the poorest of the poor. I wanted to know, by his definition here in Ethiopia, what is the poorest of the poor, and how do they determine that? Here's his answer.
There is a threshold in Ethiopia. It used to be like 301 Ethiopian birr is a minimum salary in the country, like you call minimum wage. So even if the person is employed, we won't take a person who gets more than that salary. That means 301 Ethiopian birr divided by 9 is how much?
30.
That is a month.
35.
That is the maximum we allow to be part of this program. We have a standard for that, but what we do if the family, because the family size differ from family to family, so the more children you have, the level of abject poverty is more pronounced in that family. So we take about 2 to 3 kids per family in that situation. We are sponsoring a maximum of 3 kids, but on average, you have about 6 kids at home. We can't sponsor everybody at home because of 2 reasons. One is the equity concept. Because of the equity, we have to spread for others because abject poverty is everywhere. We can't take everybody. Even though taking a child makes a difference in the family. The second one is we don't want our family totally depend on compassion. So it's good to take about 3 to 2, depending on the level of poverty. But still, You can imagine the challenge.
The second question that I asked Dawit is about the relationship between the sponsored child and the sponsor. I suspect that for most of us, it is far easier to write a check for $32 every month so that our sponsored child can be taken care of than it is to carve out 10 minutes to write that child a letter. Because we have an excess of wealth, but we don't have an excess of time. We've made our lives so busy that it really is a greater sacrifice for many of us to write a letter to a child to encourage that child than it is to sign a check or have an automatic withdrawal taken from our bank accounts. So I asked Dawit how important the letters from sponsors are to the success of a sponsored child's development. And I knew the answer, but this is called leading the witness. Here's his answer.
That was a challenge. So compassion as a whole, globally, have started a dynamic system of increasing, training sponsors, also training project staff on quality communications. And now it is increasing. The regular one from a child perspective side is about four letters.
A child receives about 4 letters?
Sends
about 4
letters.
What about sponsors?
But the sponsor part, it used to be about 2. The recent statistic I have is it is increased to 3, about 3 now.
How important are those letters?
Very, very critical.
Why is that?
Do you know what? Whenever you visit projects, whenever we take sponsors to projects, the only and most important message the project staff speak or give to our sponsor is please write letters. It makes a difference. Do you know some of the kids sleep with that letter? They sleep. If you go and look at where they keep their letters, they keep it in a very special place in their life. Because, can you imagine, some of these kids, they come from broken homes. Some of them have never heard, except the project, a word, I love you. These are kids who are hungry of love. Most of the sponsors, when they write letters, I met a child crying when she has received a letter from her sponsor, because she said, she loves me very much. That's what she said. So it means a lot for these kids to have letters from sponsors.
Do you see any kind of relationship between how well a child does in the project as far as in their schooling and success overall? Is there a relationship between the success of the child and the relationship with the sponsor?
Yes, it's true. It's true. Forgive me. This one needs more research.
Okay.
But I've not. But from a child development point of view, and from my experience with project, because I used to be a project facilitator, I used to travel a lot, meet, hug children. That is what I missed when I became a country director. Really. That's why I like the job of program facilitator. You go to project, you hug these kids, and you ask them all the interesting questions. And most of the time, a person who gets encouragement in child development increases, that's a study, increases like about 20% in his performance compared to those who have not received encouragement.